Thanks for staying with us. So many of our elderly are lonely, some are dying, some are living in abject poverty, others sickness, and others have societal stigma. On the show today, we have one very, very interesting lady. She's a geriatrician in Nigeria to speak on the imperative of taking care of the elderly in our society. Joining us right now is the CEO consultant, geriatrician, GBS Medical Services, Dr. OluToyin Ajala. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
We want to talk about aging gracefully and taking care of our elderly, because the truth is that at some point we're all going to grow old. And it's not just about us, it's about our parents and our loved ones. So let me first of all ask you, what do you do as a geriatrician? I've never really heard that term before. I'd like to know what exactly you do and how do you help people to live better lives?
Okay. So first of all, a geriatrician is a physician that is trained in looking after elderly people. Okay. I trained in the UK because here in Nigeria, when I was here as a medical student, I left after my house jobs. There was no geriatric medicine. Okay. And the first time I actually heard of geriatric medicine was when I got to the UK in 1991. And I got there, and my first job was in geriatric medicine as a junior doctor, and I absolutely loved it. And the reason why it's so important to have geriatricians is because as people age, all of us, our bodies change. And, you know, physicians, you have different specialties in different physician specialties like cardiology that focus on the heart, you know, endocrinology, they focus on things like diabetes, thyroid problems. You have chest pulmonologists. We're all physicians. Yeah. The geriatricians deal with the peculiar problems of aging and the elderly.
Wow. So my mom was in my house on Sunday, and she was like, I'm not sleeping with AC again, no. You know, the body is the way the body is. And, you know, I was just, and my mom is very agile, strong, like she's, and, you know, when I was preparing for this topic, I just realized that these things happen. So we're treating different symptoms, but in your own case, you are dealing with the general deterioration that the body goes through. How do we reduce that standard deterioration that the body would go through with age?
Okay, so we're talking about healthy aging now.
Yeah.
Because there are two options to life, I always say. So I tell people there are two options to life. It's either you age or you die. So what you want to do is you want to age well. We're all aging. You know, so I'm 51, we're all getting older. And as you get older, things start to deteriorate. So aging actually starts at 30.
So we're aging.
You have aged.
We're all aging. You haven't aged. You look, I mean, you look fantastic. So, you know, aging starts at 30. So up till that point, it's growth. You know, the body grows, the cells grow. By the time you get to 30, things now start to deteriorate. And there are two factors that you know, that affect this. So it's either your genes and what you do to yourself. So your genes make up like 30% of how you age. The other 70% is made up by what you do.
Right.
Your lifestyle, you know, your environment. You know, the other day, because my husband was here, we live in the UK, my husband was like, Nigeria ages you. I mean, the poor guy, he had a few gray hairs already just from spending like a few days here because, you know, some things don't work, you know. So what we all need to do is that when we get to a certain age, everybody needs to address it. Right. I was getting to 50 and I decided I've got to lose weight. I've got to start exercising.
You're bigger than this before?
I was a bit.
She looks great.
Yes, oh, thank you. Well, I love the compliments.
But, okay, for me, anytime I hear about, like, geriatric medicine and things like that, I think about, like really elderly people who need home care, who need people to stay with them. And I always feel that it's an Oyinbo thing because people don't take care of your elderly. They're still part of the house. When they get old, they just have to stay at home and be grandma and grandpa and take care of them. Are we doing it right? Or is a nursing home the better way to do it? when it comes to caring for
So
elderly?
I have to tell you, so first of all, it's JBS Medicare Services. Okay. So I am the CEO, I'm the lead consultant geriatrician of JBS Medicare Services. And we came into operation in 2018. But I had had a dream of setting up an elderly healthcare service in Nigeria since 2007. So whilst I was doing my training, just because of what you've said, you know, people knew I was training in geriatric medicine. People were struggling with their parents. Lots of people. I was getting calls. I was getting calls from people that were struggling, people close to me, you know, people who were not so close, getting calls because lots of things were happening, falls, not getting the right care, dementia. You know, I did not realize until 2018, 3 years ago, how big a problem dementia is in Nigeria. I had no clue. I thought dementia was a Western problem until I came to Nigeria, and it is a big problem in Nigeria.
For those of us that have our families staying with us, is it a better option, like going back to what she said, or putting our family, our loved ones in homes is a better option? Which one do you think is better? Which one helps them better?
Is your service even homes? It's not homes.
No, it's not. My service is not homes. I don't actually have any homes. Yeah. I just have a healthcare service. Yeah. So I look after elderly, you know, when I say elderly, I have patients who are 65. So geriatric medicine starts from 65. So I have patients who are 65 and they've been around. They've seen cardiologists, they've seen chest doctors, and their children have money. It's not like they don't have money, but they're just not getting better. They're not well. And then they call me in, and then, you know, because I'm an experienced geriatrician, we see what, I know what to do. And then we do it. Talking about the care at home, one of my pet peeves in life when I got to the UK was homes, nursing homes. I hated the idea. Nursing homes, I hated it. I was like, no, where I come from, we look after our parents. I mean, my grandfather lived with me until he died, lived with us. You know, that was what I believed until I came to Nigeria in 2018 and saw how people were struggling. And don't forget that things have changed because, okay, you are here, but I have a very big percentage of my clients who, the children live abroad. The children are in Australia. That's how far flung you know, Australia, the States, the UK, France. And they are worried about their parents in Nigeria. And, you know, they're living alone. We can put in carers and everything. But, you know, there's all sorts of things going on. There's all sorts of abuse.
You got to where I would like to go. So you have your parents, sometimes with you, but you're not available because of the kind of jobs and lifestyle we have.
Yes.
I'd love to take care of my mother personally.
Yes.
I'd love to live with her, manage her menu and all of that. But it's not possible. She won't even leave her house. Now, most of us resort to that small aburo, get a cousin, someone who will now put that burden on and think money will solve our own commitments, so we'll just send money all the time. What can we do to ensure that that person that is in charge is fit to do the job? Because we are doing it from a place of love, but that person might not be able to do it from a place of love. But if they understand what to do, you know, maybe it will be better. If I bring my mom, for instance, to you, along with a caregiver that I've attached to her to you, what can you teach her and the caregiver so that they can live well?
Okay. So it's okay, I can talk about my practice, my service. So part of it, not all of it, because we've got the medical care, we've got the nursing care, we've got the home care. I don't personally supervise the home care section. You know, that's run by my nursing team. They provide training for caregivers, and they also provide trained caregivers. So what we do in my service is that if you come to us and say, oh, you know what, I'm worried about my mom, we want to have a trained caregiver, we do an assessment first. We always do a medical nursing assessment. Because what I found is that, you know, people just say, oh, we want a caregiver, just send us someone. That didn't work. Not for me, anyway. Okay, so we have to do an assessment. Okay. We do a medical and nursing assessment. So we come to the house, we assess your, you know, we have to see because sometimes you send someone there and things are totally different to how it's been reported. And it's my reputation at stake. Okay. It took a long time for me to come.
When you do an assessment, what would you say would be red flags for you? And like, okay, this person needs care and needs care immediately. Okay,
so this person, so first of all, sometimes you get there and the person can't, maybe can't even stand, can't move.
Okay.
So we want to do an assessment, oh, hello, and then bed bound. We always check for pressure sores, can't eat. Sometimes we got there once and the person had a stroke.
Wait, I want us to, because I think I've even gone too far. Because there are people watching TV right now and they want to know how we don't get to this point where they are needing this kind of help. So I want you to, let's reverse a bit on how do we age gracefully? How do we age in a healthy way so that we don't have to go through this? That even if my children travel abroad, I can be strong enough to take care of myself. I would like you to help us on those few steps.
Okay. So I think when you get to a certain age, I'll say 30. Although many of us, I don't know, you all look so good, so I don't know how old you are. I'm 51.
All at least 30.
But you're all at least 30. So when you get to a certain age, the first thing you need to do is, for me, the number one remedy to aging is exercise, moving. Exercise, moving. I don't know how you ladies do it because you're here in the studio so early in the morning. I've watched a few of your shows. I also get up early. You get up early in the morning, you do your exercises, 30 minutes a day, at least, minimum. So for me, for instance, I get on the treadmill. I do what I call a HIIT. Over the last 30 years, I've been able to figure out what my body needs to, maintain my weight and get my strength and all of that. So I do what's called a HIIT, where, I walk for 3-4 minutes, then I run for 1 minute. So I do that. I try to do that at least 20 minutes. I wouldn't say 30 minutes every day because that would be lying. But I try and do at least 20 minutes every day. I also have a personal trainer. Because of COVID, that stopped. We haven't actually checked. He's not back yet. But, I had that. I know what to do. I've got my weights. I do my weight training. Exercise is key. So number one is exercise. I'd say exercise before anything else, before food, before anything else. Number one is exercise. You've got to exercise. You've got to build your body. You've got to make sure that your body is resilient. You've got to build up your muscles. You've got to, your exercise tolerance. It helps your lungs, your heart, everything. So that as you get older, and everybody I know that exercises from a young age, they tend to age well. They tend to age better. That's my number one.
All right,
exercise.
So many of us are parents that they didn't exercise. They're already in their 60s, 70s. There was no exercise there. And they are just listening. They're just mommies. They wake up in the morning, eat their food, and they just pray.
No, I must say, though, my mom is 80. Okay. I mean, she always exercises. I grew up with an exercising mom. Oh, yes. Wow. But my mom is the only mom I knew that exercised. I still remember doing, push-ups, not push-ups, but doing the abs and everything. I mean, she was a babe. She's still a babe. She was very different.
For the mothers who never exercise, I mean, what can they do? So they don't deteriorate to the point that they're carrying them and they're lifting them and everything.
I think starting with walking. Okay. Walking is a very, very good form of exercise. If you can get in your 10,000 steps, let's just say you do that in 30 minutes. Yes, try. You can start, yes. So, I mean, I have a patient now. He'd never exercised. He's 83. He'd never exercised. He came from Ekiti to see me. And he'd never done anything. And I said to him, okay, so now we need to set 30 minutes. I said, 30 minutes, sir. So I was there when he did 10 minutes. Went for his first walk, 10 minutes. Got his grandchildren. I was like, Grandpa must walk maybe twice a day. He went again, 15 minutes. So, they've got to start from somewhere. The first time, 5 minutes, he was panting. He couldn't do it.
So it's never too late, you're saying?
It's never too 83. And he's going to start now. Because I need for him to be more agile than he is so that I can manage him better.
Yeah. Most of our parents will tell you, okay.
So there are lots of food that they usually say, take off your menu. And many people watching always try to guess which is right or which is wrong. So which would you say, take off? Take off your menu that you like. Take it out of your menu. Don't eat it. Don't get names. Yeah.
Sugar.
Like refined sugar.
Any sugar.
They like soft drinks.
Sugar.
Sugar out. Okay.
Sugar out.
What about beef?
Sugar is your number one anti-aging, so your number one aging agent.
Oh, wow.
Number one. I say that, but I still have a tiny bit of sugar because it's tough.
It's quite tough.
Because we grew up with sugar.
Yeah.
We grew up with sugar.
When you say sugar, like, I know the added sugar, but other
The added sugar and any other kind of sugar, as much sugar. No, that's natural. That's fruits.
Okay.
You're supposed to have your fruit and veg.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, adding sugar, sugary drinks, even orange juice, all those extra sugars. Yes, extra sugars, sort of Coca-Cola, Coke, all those things, sugar, all sugar.
Let me ask you this question.
So an elderly person... Oh, sorry. Ask her.
No, because I have been able to stop drinking all these things. But I can't get off these malt drinks. Like, they're just crazy. I mean, like, I really want deliverance. So one of the brands actually did a no sugar, added sugar. Are those things still healthy?
Zero sugar drinks.
Zero sugar drinks?
So I'm the sort of person who believes if I'm going to, because of the calories, if I'm going to have it, it better be sweet. If it's not going to be sweet, why should I have it?
Right.
Do you understand? Because I think we need to indulge ourselves occasionally, you know? So I wouldn't say cut out. The only thing I'd say cut out is sugar. 100%. It's aging. It causes inflammation. Cut it out.
But honey.
Honey is more natural. In moderation. So I believe in having everything in moderation. Everything, seriously. I wouldn't say cut out meat. I wouldn't say cut out, you know, oil. Maybe palm oil. You can indulge once in a month or something.
Palm oil is healthier than regular.
That's what I was taught until we now found that it actually clogs the arteries. I know, I know.
Okay,
that's
so
the whole point.
Many Nigerian old elderly people now will be watching and thinking, see, the way they would tell us is, see, I've gotten to this stage in my life. Don't even come and stress me.
Mariam, God bless you for that.
Don't stress me. But then we are constantly taking them to the hospital. What would you say to them today as they're watching TV that they can do from their homes to just help improve their health? Okay.
So I must confess, because I'm sure some of my patients and their children will be watching, I believe that when you get to a certain age, we should allow you a bit of an indulgence. I mean it. And I have seen, because I have seen lots of miserable elderly people. So especially during COVID, people were miserable. They couldn't go out. They couldn't, you know, see their friends. They couldn't have family over. And then some child is telling them, no, don't eat this, don't eat that. And then there were just lots of miserable people. And I turned one of my patients' lives around recently. I hope my daughter is watching. When I said to her, they were like, oh, she's got diabetes. She likes her, right? And the woman just stopped eating. She stopped eating. So I came in and I said, you know what? What do you want to eat? For some reason, she wanted fried rice. And I was like, let's give her what she wants to eat. And then I will manage the blood sugar. I will manage it. But give her, her memory came back. She went to the hairdresser. They were showing me, she was dancing. They showed me, they were sending me video upon video because we can't be too restrictive. I've said to my children, my daughter is in the studio, when I get to 90, don't say I can't have half a glass of wine. I will be very upset. Just let me have it at that point.
I mean, my
just let me have it at that point.
My husband's grandmother was with us. I mean, she's 96. Mama is like, she's healthier, jumping, and she's been taking these things all her life. I mean, this is a woman that can take 11 p.m. and she's fine. All her life, so the exercise part, I hear you, because she used to walk long distances for many years. So her body's used to it. But my worry, doctor, is that many of our mothers haven't done that, or our fathers haven't done that. Now they are older. Some of them are obese, in fairness. They're used to their lifestyles. And they say, listen, I am 70. I've made it to 70. Leave me. Don't come and start stressing me at this age. So those kinds of people, how do we best manage them? Because they haven't heart disease. That's one question. Secondly, the issues of high blood pressure, those adult diseases, how do we detect it on time? Because some of them, we wake up and your father has walked away. Some of them, they have Alzheimer's, some have Parkinson's. You don't even dementia. You don't even detect it on time. Like, just understand that is this. But the man will just walk away. So I would like you to really help us to hit the nail on the head. What should we look out for when our parents start to age? How do we suspect it's time for us to find a doctor to come and solve this problem?
Okay. So I would say that when your parents hit 65, let's say 70.
Okay.
So when your parents hit 70, please call me. Let them have a comprehensive geriatric assessment, even if they're fit and well, because we uncover lots of things.
Okay, so
Why let her finish? Please go ahead.
We uncover lots of things, and what we want to do is we want to prevent that. We want to prevent that sudden, because people always say it happened suddenly. Yeah. Last year, he just stopped remembering my name. Yeah. He just walked out of the house and drove somewhere and left the car. But it's not as sudden as all of that. That always seems to happen at 74, 75. But if you call me at 70, we'll do a comprehensive geriatric assessment. I'll check his blood pressure. We'll make sure his, what we call the vascular risk factors are fine. You know, his blood pressure is fine, his cholesterol is fine, he doesn't have diabetes, his thyroid's working fine, all his vitamin levels are okay.
Who are fine without all these conditions you just mentioned?
By the time we do the comprehensive geriatric assessment, quite often we find things that are not fine. But what you want to do is you want to find it whilst it is easy to reverse things. You don't want to find it when the brain is gone. Because what happens is all these things, all these problems that are there at 70, so by between 65, 70, all these things are there. The blood pressure is there. A bit too much stress, not eating the right things, like you said, not getting the exercise, thyroid's not working quite right, the cholesterol's high, you know, blood pressure at night is 100 and, there was one the other, 190 over 100, you know, things like that. So we'll find it, we'll pick it up.
Okay, all right, let me take a talk.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, because you see, our audience cuts across those who can and those who have and those who have not. Yeah. And we mustn't leave anybody behind. Access to healthcare. What would be the essential tests for those who can't afford a specialist but would be going to the general hospitals? What should they be asking for? If you're watching this show now and you're 65 years, about going to 70, when you go for your next appointment, what would you ask the doctors to check?
Okay, so let me list it. Yeah. So the first, let me list it. So number one, ask them to check your blood pressure. Want to know your blood pressure? That's number one. If the blood pressure is high when they get there, it might be anxiety because they're saying, Ejo, can you check my blood pressure? Or is she me? Before you leave the center, can you check it again? So blood pressure, number one. Number two, if you've got the means, then really we should be doing the diabetes blood tests and the cholesterol blood tests. Okay. If you've got the means. And for anybody, it's not that expensive. At least once a year from 65, you should check that. This one I'm going to say because I've been asked this by some GPs recently. Thyroid function. Thyroid function. Now, that is an expensive blood test here in Nigeria. It's an expensive blood test anywhere in the world. But I believe that it is one of the most essential blood tests that everybody should check at least once in 2 to 3 years from age 65 is your thyroid blood test. Because if that is defective and it is left unchecked, dementia is looming. So, you know, all that can't remember, wandering around, suddenly became aggressive, became paranoid, they're calling them witches and all of that. That is what the end game. Wow. And that is also, yes, if the thyroid's not working properly and it is left unchecked for 10 years, that's where you're heading. Oh, interesting. So blood pressure, very important. And the reason why blood pressure, cholesterol, and the diabetes sugar is important is because these are what we call them vascular risk factors. They affect the blood vessels in the brain and the heart. Right. People always think, heart attack. But having tiny little strokes, nobody knows. Tiny strokes, little strokes, blood vessel blockages in the brain. Tiny, you know.
Let me take this call from Ibrahim. He's been holding. Ibrahim, are you there from Jos?
Yes.
You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, good morning. I'm enjoying the talk with the doctor there.
Thank you.
And well done. Quickly, I'd like to add, generally, the elderly in our society, I'm using my dad here as a case study, is in his early 70s, and most of the things she's talking about we are experiencing. Precisely the shock when it comes to when they start restricting your meals, stopping you from eating this and that. My mom is always on his neck, and she will not allow him eat anything. because the doctor said it will affect him. So how do we manage these kinds of things? And is the dementia is experiencing it also, and other factors that she is mentioning. And I really want her to just explain about this. She has a house that she gives the care. We want to understand the setting, and if we want to bring someone in our society, what are the things we'll follow to do?
All right, thank you, Ibrahim.
Okay. Ibrahim, so the first thing I need to tell you is that all our parents, when they get to a certain age, they're very stubborn. They're stubborn and they're set in their ways. The last thing they want to hear from you, their son, is don't eat this, don't do that, don't go here, don't go there. Even though you are doing it for them, you're doing the best you can for them. So what I always tell my patients' children is, you've got to make him believe he's making the decision himself. So when you go to him, you don't just say to him, no, the doctor said don't do this. You say, oh, try and explain it a bit and make it his decision. Guide him in that decision so that he believes it's his own decision. He's making this decision himself. That's number one. And then number two, with the dementia, I don't know. I assume he's got established dementia already, is it? Is that what you're saying?
I think he's not
listening. Yeah.
Okay. So he's got what was the second thing he said? Because I haven't got my...
if you have like a care center or how it works. So
where's he calling from?
So I'm sure we can always get to that. We don't want to do marketing. Let's go. I think I have a call from Nasser. Nasser, are you there? Oh, I think I lost that.
I need a sheet of paper. I need a sheet of paper.
I think we lost that call. All right. So my dad had a partial stroke. I think it was when Kudra was killed. I can't remember the 1995.
How old was he?
1995. And then until he passed on in 2005, we were managing the partial stroke. He slowly lost his speech. And many felt that it could have been reversed, even though he was at the time, I think it was about 70 or so, when it happened. Now, my question to you is that when somebody has a partial stroke, can that condition be reversed such that they have the normal lives together, or would there have been a better way for us to manage it? Because throughout his life, he couldn't speak, and it was difficult to communicate to him.
So let me ask you, how quickly did you detect that he'd had a stroke?
Of course, we took him to the hospital. The doctor diagnosed him with...
But was it... I mean, did you see... Because, so, with strokes, what happens with strokes is that there is a blockage to a blood vessel.
Yes. There was anger, aggression.
Yes. There's a blockage to a blood vessel. And in the UK, if you can get to that blood vessel within 4 hours, we can actually give treatments to unblock the blood vessel. That reverses the damage.
Oh. So it's
not done so commonly here, but there are centers here. There's a center in Enugu, a neurosciences center, where it can be done. But it can't be done in many centers. So
how do you detect? So when that thing happens, how do you know it's partial stroke?
Okay, so these are the things. So it's called its face. So you look at, so first of all, you're talking to someone and all of a sudden he can't speak. There's a facial droop, he just stops speaking, and the face, it looks like there's a droop. And, maybe there's saliva drooling. Yeah. And then can't lift an arm or a leg. Right. Those are the signs of a stroke. Okay. Can't speak,
what do you
face
do
drooping. Yeah. Immediately take them to a hospital. Okay. Take them to a hospital immediately. Okay. And, like I said, it's not in every center. In Enugu, if you're in Enugu, you are privileged because there's a neurosciences, there's a center there. But in most places, we can't really unblock the blood vessel, but at least we can try and limit the damage by controlling things that, at that point, the body starts to fight. So blood pressure goes sky high, everything just goes out of sync. And if we can get it, we might be able to limit some damage, but by the time that has happened, the damage is done. And what we want to do, and this is why it's so... Prevention is far, especially with strokes, prevention is far, far better than cure. In this environment, you've got to prevent that stroke from happening. Monitor your blood pressure. Number one, blood pressure. Okay. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol. That is it. Vascular risk factors, that's what it's called. exercise is key. And exercise helps because exercise actually helps to maintain your blood pressure. So, you know, I mean, there was a study that was done. If you start to exercise 30 minutes every day, your blood pressure actually drops by, naturally drops.
Exercise will naturally drop.
It will drop your blood pressure, not dramatically. So if your blood pressure is like 200 over 110, it will probably drop it to like 180 or something. Right. But it would, I'm talking about people who it's just a bit high. Yeah. It does help. And because, you know, the more you exercise is not really for weight loss. Exercise is just to keep you healthy. Blood pressure, your heart, and all of that.
Many of us will be calling our parents after the show.
Yes. I would say that you should tell your parents to check their blood pressure. It's a bit OCD. No, but it's a bit OCD, but to check their blood pressures every day.
One thing Nigerian elderly people do is check their blood pressure. They
will eat all of them.
They will sit down, but you see that blood pressure.
Some of them, they always have a bag of medication. Oh my goodness, carry with them. They're not open it. They're not looking for drugs.
I mean, that's one of the first things I do when I go. I want to see your bag of medicines, because that bag of medicines can even be the cause of all the problems. And that's why you need a geriatrician. Because most people will say, so I went to the neurologist, I went to the cardiologist, I went to the endocrinologist, then I went to the pulmonologist. And each ologist is giving you their own, they're giving you their own set of drugs to manage that problem, which is peculiar to their own specialty. And then what you have is a bag full of 15 different tablets, all interacting with one another. So, you know, you need a geriatrician to actually tailor it down for you.
Now that you've told us about this geriatrician, but we have to wrap up. But thank you very much. I think one thing we've learned from this show is the fact that the blood pressure is extremely important. And the blood sugar, diabetes, and also cholesterol. Check those things. And thyroid blood tests. Extremely important because those are the things that lead to dementia and other great diseases that old people have. That thing I've taken away from here.
And we have to exercise and stop sugar.
Exercise and stop sugar. All right. Before we wrap up, I think I have one more. Nima, you want to say something?
No.
Nima?
Yes, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, that's all we can take. Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you to Dr. G for my cake and Nana. Thank you very much.
Oh, I just see. Sorry to do for. All right, that's all we can take. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.